A message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose.
Yes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the best sports betting vibe on the internet. I'm your host, George Carmona. Baker Mayfield truther, Bo Nix truther, Brock Bowers truther, and Taysom Hill expert. Yes, you heard it here first. Last week, George calling Taysom Hill to score 2+ touchdowns. He scores 3. I am the prophecy. I am the Messiah. Whenever I am giving you an 16-1 long shot white guy for the Saints, you gotta give me my flowers. And I appreciate Jordan Riley hitting me up saying, hey, I didn't bet it, but you did win me fantasy this week. So either way, if you heeded my advice, it was a great weekend for you. Oh, and by the way, I'm joined by this guy over here.
It's your show today, bro. This is the first time in VM history that I'm not hosting. And listen, the floor is
good.
yours, bro. That was you. First of all, you crushed that.
Thank you.
All right. You also crushed the weekend with the picks. And I hit you up late last night, and I was like, yo, you know what? You're hosting today, bro. Because the amount of people that are pro George, right? I'm pro George too.
Yeah.
I'm pro wrestling, pro betting, pro football, pro Latinas. Shout out in the control room. And I'm pro George. You crushed it. So today, George is hosting today.
And I would like to start off this show by saying that in 2028, I will be running for president of the United States. You heard it here first. If I am this good at what I'm doing now, imagine what I can predict for this country. So Veterans Minimum, although a sports betting show, it's already got the red and blue and white. It's going to be turning into an American political podcast because I'm the host now and I could do what I want.
And also, I'm going to volunteer as your VP.
Mm-hmm.
Sports bettors, if you go 4 out of 5 on your parlay, we're going to pay it out.
Under this administration, these things are possible.
Bro, we pay that out. There's like 120 million people that sports bet. Good luck.
Yeah.
We're fucking running away with this one.
People are wondering how we're going to end poverty. It's that. That's how we're going to, in this economy, that's how we get out of poverty. That's what we're going to do. Yes. That's what we're going to do. Nick, thank you for letting me do this because, I mean, for a while, I was starting to think that, because you were saying it so much, George, you're new to the sports betting space. I didn't want you to think that I, sucked or that I didn't know what the hell was going on. So I had to, sometimes, Nick, you just got to pop out and show them.
Yeah.
Hey.
You do. And listen, bro, when he scored that second touchdown, I immediately text you. I was like, you son of a bitch. I bet him to score 1 touchdown.
Right.
I was like, let's not get crazy. And that's what I get. I'm the clown. This episode, not only am I the co-host, I'm the clown. Because I didn't trust my boy. And you crushed it, man. You crushed it. You got a lot of good feedback from the Discord. I got a lot of DMs. I got a DM from Michael. You ain't shit. George is better. I can live with that because you're still listening to the show and George is hosting today. So shout out to George, man. That was fucking fire. What do you got, bro? Direct us. This is your show now.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What's the little banter we got?
Okay, let's see here. I talked about that I'm going to run for president 2020. Nick, college football.
Okay.
The UNLV Rebels, my alma mater, they had a game this past weekend in which the game didn't necessarily matter. UNLV's doing good for themselves this season. I don't even know who they played. But what I do want to point out is that in the VIP suites, there was a receipt that was shown for the price of chicken fingers and a pizza at a box suite at a UNLV game. Guess how much it was?
Pizza and chicken fingers?
Pizza and chicken fingers.
How much could this fucking be? With tip?
Sure. Include tip.
Hey, yo. Let's go. Like, I don't know, $80.
Nick, this was over $650. Do you have the exact dollar amount in front of you? I had sent, or you had sent a link, but I'm hosting, so you have the link. You're my vice president. Pull up the link, Nick. Tell me how much they spent. They spent over $630 on chicken fingers and pizza, and that is making people's heads explode right outside the win here.
So shout out to Bill Krakenberger, friend of the podcast, at Bill Crackman on Twitter. He put up the tweet. I just found it right now. $653. Ugh, bro. And he said they treat their sweet guests like they are in a club with bottle service. First of all, I went to a casino out here one time. And I've done this a lot of times in my life where I don't want you to play me in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely don't try to hustle me. I went to get a Gatorade from a casino. I was like, yo, can I get a Gatorade? The girl hands me the Gatorade. I go to pay. She goes, $12. And I go, no, I only wanted one. She's like, yeah, $12. I was like, you could drink that. And I just walked away. Come on, bro.
$12 for a Gatorade?
Like, and
it's $1 an ounce.
How about this?
Pretty close.
Check this out. Not even on the strip.
No.
This was like a local Vegas casino for like locals, right? It's the ones where
Station casinos.
Yeah, Station
Red Rock,
Casinos,
Texas.
Suncoast, one of those, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Let's not get crazy, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like I went one time to get a slice of pizza. They told me $9. I was at Scottsdale. I was like, for one slice? They're like, yeah. I was like, I ain't eating that shit, bro.
What's the going rate for a slice in your mind?
Big pepperoni slice guy. I don't know, $5.
Okay.
5, 6.
But it better be a big fucking slice.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. This shit was like
it was
like a personal size.
It was a little isosceles.
Yeah, nah, come on, bro. We can't be doing all that.
No, that's ridiculous. By the way, getting back to the sweet thing, the food looked terrible. The chicken fingers looked dry as shit. Didn't even look like they had a nice, like, oily coating to them, which, you know, the oily coating could go either way. It could be disgusting tasting oil, but these look like the driest fucking chicken fingers I've ever seen. And then the pizza, which I've had Pizza Rock before. There's better pizza in town. But Pizza Rock's a part of Allegiant, so it's not the greatest pizza either.
Bro, there's a charge of administrative charge of $112. This is why, like, and I know this isn't a nightclub, but this is why a lot of people out here, and just in general, like, you weren't a club guy growing up, right?
No,
like,
Nick, to this day, I've still never been to a nightclub.
You've never been to a nightclub, right? Not missing out on much, I'll be honest.
I've been to.
I grew up in like the nightclub scene, and my friends and I used to promote parties and shit. And you know, dude, there was like a stretch for like 2.5 years. Every Saturday night, I was going out to this one club. Shout out to Imperial. My friends and I used to promote there, but like we were making some money. Or it'd be like, yo, it's someone's birthday. We're not gonna get paid from this, you know, the people that we brought in, but whatever. We'll have a bottle, we'll have tables, and we'll be chilling, right? I never really liked going out like that. I'm more of a bar guy, lounge, chill. I want to be able to talk, vibe. And one of the main reasons why you do that now, I think like at this age in like your 30s or whatever it might be, it's like I'm not trying to just post up on a wall and you know, like it's a little bit more
space.
Yeah, you want your own spot to like chill and vibe at, right? But the pricing, again, I don't like getting played. I don't like getting hustled. And I get it. Like, you're in the nightclub scene or the pool party scene. You got to make your money. But also, some of these prices are excessive, bro.
Yeah.
You're paying like $5K table minimums for some of this shit. And it's like, really? What am I getting out of here? I get it if it's an event and it's a concert too. Like, maybe there's a DJ playing or an artist. Cool, I get it. But like, bro, something like this. $653 for chicken fingers and pizza is nuts.
At a UNLV football game, you're not even watching like SEC level football. This is
forget all that, dude. This could have been the Super Bowl. That's an outrageous price to charge someone.
For sure. Let me.
That's what I'm saying.
It's bullshit.
That's a crazy price.
Be better. $150 and an administrative fee for a person that's already in a fucking box, and you wonder why people haven't fallen in love with UNLV football. How the fuck can anybody afford? Because here's the thing, and I get it, it's a box. The stadium's empty. And it's like, you guys are really good at football and you guys are trying to get back into your winning ways. You deter people because Bill's reputable. Shit, bro, that tweet, I can guess, probably has over 100,000 impressions.
10.6 million views.
Well over 100,000 impressions.
yeah, smashed the over.
And that's UNLV. Yeah. Like, come on.
It's to your point. I think what it does is it sours your fan base, right?
Facts.
It becomes something that it's like, yo, bro, you're lying to people, right? Perfect example. The timing is impeccable with this. Formula One is in town, right? Have you seen the prices of things? Like 600% cheaper. No, cheaper.
Cheaper?
Yeah, bro. Because, dude, last year.
Because it sucks this year.
Well, here's the thing. There's not as much excitement as it was last year, because let me ask you this question, because this has been my take and I want to hear your thoughts. As a local, lifelong Las Vegan, would you be excited if the Super Bowl was here every year? As if you were last year when it was in Vegas for the first time? Don't you feel like eventually one of the reasons why they don't have the Super Bowl in Miami every year, which if there was a place to go, 8th Street Latinas, I'd approve of Miami. But let me not digress.
Right.
The excitement of it being in Miami every year would start to lessen. That's why they go to New Orleans, they go to San Fran, they go to Arizona, they come to Vegas. And I feel like last year there was so much excitement about Formula One. It came and went. I went to the race. It was cool. The cars are crazy fast, and like I get 3 seconds of seeing the cars, not even, and that's it. And now I gotta watch on a jumbotron. So I think the excitement is down. And the reason why I asked this question, and I want to hear your answer, is it sours the people.
Yeah,
you're hustling people. I get it. You got to make your money, but I'd be cool if a VIP box for any game, if I paid $100 for pizza and wings, I'd be like, yo, I get it. I'm not happy, but I understand. This is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So, loaded question. I asked you a lot. Yeah. Would you be excited if the Super Bowl was in Vegas every year?
No. You'd get accustomed to it. The excitement would obviously wean off. For that specific Formula One example, Formula One, hey, you guys are the most expensive, or you generate a crazy amount of fucking money. Why don't you guys just operate like the Olympics, and every year you're adding someplace new? And Vegas was a part of like that. All right, this is just a new one-off thing. Aside from that, yeah, it would sour out, dude. You think about these Vegas shows that have been here forever, like the Blue Man Group. Blue Man Group's dope when you're 7. Blue Man Group now, when I'm 26 years old, is like, we're really gonna watch the blue guys drum on fucking PVC pipes again. So yeah, it sours. But you gotta, just to finish up with the whole the pricing of what they had going on there, this is a real Vegas issue. Like, and I know everybody talks about like this inflation of fucking the club prices. You obviously know better than I do. Is it getting to the point where it's going to be, do you think it'll ever go down?
No, because you're always going to have people that are going to do it anyway.
Yep.
There's going to be enough people, right? Like, it's the same thing when people would be like, UFC fighters should boycott for fighters' pay. It's like, well, there's some dude on the regional scene that they'd be like, hey, man, here's $8K, come and fight.
Yep.
On the featured prelim on UFC 327. There's always going to be people, right? It was the same thing when, like, before NIL became a thing. They're like, all the players in the SEC should boycott, or like college players should stand up for their rights and not be hustled and scammed. It's like, well, there's going to be some 350-pound kid in Auburn that he has no other outlet.
And
he's going to be a defensive tackle for Mississippi State. Like, there's always going to be people to replace you.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think it's ever going to get lessened. I don't know what the solution is, truthfully. I just know that
it's not affordable for people to go to fucking games anymore.
It's not, bro.
Because we say that $600, that's somebody in a box, they can clearly afford it. Think about the average family that has to, nickel and dime a couple of slices of pizza. Like, that shit's real. That's why people don't go out as much. It sucks.
There's a restaurant here in Vegas that I went to. Super popular restaurant. It was about $250 a person it came out to. The main entree I got was this big. I don't mind. I love to eat, bro.
Yeah.
I don't mind spending money. But I want it to be worth it. That's why I only go to Barry's. Shouts to Barry's.
Facts.
Barry's Prime over at Circa.
Portion.
That's my spot. They fuck you. You leave there, you're like, I don't want to eat for 4 days.
Yeah.
And guess what? You don't even spend as much.
Mm-hmm.
But that restaurant on the strip, guess what? It's always empty when I drive by it. When I go by it, Friday nights, Saturday nights, after UFC nights, no one's in there. You know why? Because no one want to pay for a filet that is this big if you're watching this on YouTube and this social media clip. Nah, bro.
Yeah.
You're hustling people.
Yeah.
And then my favorite part is when people are not aware, like, why are we selling out? It's like, hello, $650 for a slice of pizza, for a pizza pie and chicken fingers. Come on, bro.
And hear me out here, because like, all right, and before we get to our amazing guest, Arabia, this is one of the last things that I'll leave with. When I was in New York, I did a pedicab on accident. I took a pedicab. It was like a 10-minute ride, right? And then Buddy hits me with this is going to be $100, and I was like, the fuck?
Whoa!
The fuck you mean it's going to be $100? Like, I'm not paying you that. And he's like, yeah, you are. Like, yeah. I was like, well, no, we're gonna work something out. Like, I appreciate you, because we were late for our flight and everything too. So it was like I needed it, but I also didn't have time to fucking sit here and like.
Did they put the meter on for you
and haggle? Yeah. And then Buddy, of course, gives me the fucking tour. He sees the people outside the building fighting. Oh, they've been striking for weeks, and I don't care. Give me from point A to point B. That being said. That fucking, it sucks. Oh my gosh, what was I getting to with the whole, with that bill. If I'm handed $650 for pizza and chicken fingers, I will respect somebody that leaves $100 bill there and is just like, arrest me. Arrest me if you think I'm going to pay the rest of that fucking bill. And if you want me to, like, take me to jail. But here's $100. I feel like I should be arresting you. So, if you're ever in a sticky situation like that, especially $150 for just a person delivering it to you, fuck that. Fuck that. Don't pay it.
Nah, that is something that's crazy, man. And to your point, it's expensive to go to games. We've talked about this all the time. I don't like going to games unless it's free. Unless I'm getting free tickets, I don't like paying to go to games.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'll pay for is a UFC event when I go to Miami. Like, I went earlier this year for my birthday. I met up with my buddies from New York. Shouts to Eric, Boss, and Josh. We all went down there. That I'm cool with. But nah, everything else, not only is it the pricing, it's the traffic. It's a long ass day. And then how many times we talk about the fights that go on in there? You got to worry about that shit too.
Thanks.
It's just not worth it. And then when this happens, all you're doing is you're souring your consumer. You're making it worse for your business. And then to top it all off, what ends up happening is you start to get a bad reputation. Like, this is going to happen to them. 10 million impressions. It's not a good look, bro. It is not a good look.
After not paying your quarterback early in the year, and that was like the fucking headline, right? UNLV loses quarterback for not paying him NIL sponsorship. Well, hey, use the pizza and chicken fingers money, you stupid sons of bitches. Aside from that horrific receipt, Nick, we got a great episode today. We had a great guest, and you gave the thumbs up like you wanted me to stop. I'm never gonna stop.
You're never gonna stop?
They say never gonna stop. I ain't never gonna stop. Arabia is joining us, and you will see her in 3, 2, 1. Nick, take it in.
Gotta introduce our very special guest. Friend of the pod, always shouts out our clips. So
Yes.
number one, if you do that for us or you're a Patreon member, you're already like,
You're extending my contract,
yeah,
which I appreciate.
top tier. Yeah, you're helping George's job because then the engagement goes up on our social media. Shout out social media. And host of today's episode is George Carmona over here to my left. But joining us, she goes by all 32 NFL on Instagram. Dare I say, I'll put her up against anyone when it comes to talking pigskin. She is a frequent contributor to It Is What It Is with Cameron, Mace, and Stat. She knows ball, bro. She broke down the onside kick rule to Cameron on the show. I didn't even know all the full details. I just knew that you have to do it in the fourth quarter. But she went crazy on it, and I was like, look at this. Let's go. Joining us now, like I said, all 32 NFL, Arabia.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, guys. You sure know how to make a lady feel special. What an intro. That was great. I'm going to clip that and probably just play it in the morning as an alarm or something. That was
Good
great.
idea.
That was good. And listen, Arabia, if you subscribe to the podcast while doing it and download it, which, she does already, but I'm just saying, like,
Right.
on Spotify, on Apple, however it might be, all downloads matter in this field.
Very true.
And if you're going to play it as an alarm as well, by all means, we love it.
Done. Just kind of done. I'll do it.
Before we talk about week 11, I love your content. It's awesome. Like I said in the intro, I wasn't trying to be nice. I'm being genuine. You really know ball. Your content is dope. You troll the Giants a little too much, but you know what? I also do, so I'll give you a pass on that. We're down bad, so it'd be nice if you don't troll them as much. But you know what? To each their own. I'm for it because they suck right now as a Giants fan. Can you give the people a little bit of the origin story about how you got into the content space with the NFL? And, like, are you a lifelong football fan? Tell us a little bit more about Arabia.
Sure. So before I get into that, I do want to just forewarn you, I will be trolling you about the Giants before I get off today. There's no way that I'm going to get off of here without making fun of you. So just prepare for that before I leave. I wish there was some interesting origin story. I just like football. People ask if I have a bunch of brothers. I actually have 7 sisters and 1 brother. Love sports, played sports. And my first love was actually basketball. I played basketball from 6th grade to like 11th grade. I was super into the NBA the same way that I'm super into the NFL now, but I just fell out of love in about 2011. And then at that point, football took over. So just super into sports junkie. Basketball was my first love, and now it's football.
No, it's very interesting. So did you ever play flag football? Because that was a thing here, at least in Nevada, where they started up like flag football for girls. So was that ever a thing in your high school?
No, we didn't have full flag football. I went to a super small private school. There were like 14 people in my grade. So our sports were like swimming and cross country and all of those things. So no flag football. It was just really volleyball, softball, and basketball for me.
Nice. Did you ever have anybody you looked up to in that space that like helped motivate you to stay in sports, or like who were some of your idols?
No, I would just say I just gravitated to sports in general. I have a sports family. Like a lot of my cousins played sports. Thanksgiving was always gathering around the TV watching football. Everybody in my family pretty much really likes sports or plays sports. So maybe just I come from a sports family.
That makes perfect sense. Sounds like Nick and I over here.
Big sports family guy. My dad actually, my dad played professional soccer until he was 19. I know it's a short stint, but like in Greece and in Europe, you kind of play at a young age. He tore his hamstring and then immediately started smoking cigarettes. Very Greek of him, on brand, without a doubt.
100%.
Especially out there in Greece.
Career's over.
But yeah, my dad was a professional soccer player until he was about 19. And then it was LGs, became a mechanic, then moved to America for greener pastures. Started selling donuts and coffee on the side of the streets. And then he had the BOI in 1991.
That's big.
And that is the American dream, baby, as we're over here sitting in the wind, recording this lovely podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever it is you subscribe and listen to the show. Arabia, I want to dive into week 11. And I want to take a little victory lap because on your Instagram, all 32 NFL, You asked last week who was going to beat the Chiefs. Can they go 17-0? And I wrote to you that this is the week. Buffalo is going to beat them. They go on to beat them. What are your biggest takeaways from that game? Chiefs no longer undefeated. Josh Allen and the Bills get revenge, if you want to call it that. They lost to them last year in the playoffs. They always lose to them in the playoffs. What do you make of that game in week 11?
So it's two things, really. First of all, the Bills pretty much always play balanced ball as far as the run game and the pass game. It's about 50-50 per game so far through these 11 weeks. And it looked like they were trying to force the run in this game, and I get why. Number one, you have a good running back in James Cook. And number two, you want to keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. And if you hit the ground, then you can certainly do that and keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. But they were going for the run on like 2nd and long, which just led to 3rd and long. And so Joe Brady was like, okay, look, I'm going to put the ball in Josh Allen's hands. He had 40 pass attempts, which is the most so far throughout the whole season, and it worked out. Thankfully, they do have that option. Some teams don't have a guy at quarterback that they can just give the ball to and like, hey, go make plays. They also, had that really close victory over the Jets and was like, we're going to go get Amari Cooper, who has been definitely working out. So that my biggest takeaway was that they were able to adjust and give the ball to one of their biggest, if not their biggest playmaker on offense. And number two, of course, now the narrative is, yes, the Chiefs took an L in the regular season, but will they try to get their lick back as they normally do in the postseason? So now we're going to be looking ahead to see how both of these teams develop. And if they meet again, which they probably will in the postseason, will the Chiefs get their lick back?
Yeah, that's the consensus from everyone. I couldn't agree with you more. It's like, cool, dude, you beat us in November.
Yeah.
We just beat everybody come January. And as I was watching that game, especially that last run on 4th and 2, which is like the NFL MVP Heisman moment for Josh Allen, if he does go on to win that, they're going to show that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I love that play, bro. Put the ball in your best player's hands. Let him decide it. The amount of times that teams line up, like there was a Steelers play, right? We'll get to that game in a little bit. Steelers are playing the Ravens. The Steelers are on their side of the 50.
Mm-hmm.
And they go into Madden goal line formation. And I'm watching the game on the couch, slouch back. I'm like, oh, they're going to run the ball. It's like the whole world knew you were going to run. They run the ball, get stuffed, turnover, short field, right?
Yep.
It's like, bro, let's go 4 wide like they did.
Give him the lanes.
Yeah. Listen, RPO or run. And he did. And I love that, dude. I love that. Arabia, does that frustrate you sometimes? Like, I see, like I said before, your content is amazing and you break down film too. Are there times where you feel the same way? Where you're like, dude, just give the ball to your best player and let them decide the outcome?
1,000%. And what better example could we think of than Marshawn Lynch? It gives me nightmares. I'm not even a Seahawks fan. And every time I just wake up in a cold sweat, like, give the ball to Marshawn. Like, there's so many times where I'm like, you know who your guy is. Don't overthink it and try to get too cute or fancy. Give the ball to the guy who you trust the most. And you're able to do that with a guy like Josh Allen because he's just so big and physical. He'll just plow over a defense. And we saw him do it against the Chiefs.
Yeah, this game, right? Any combination of Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Bengals, Chiefs, give me that for 17 weeks, bro. It's always a banger of a game when that combination of the 3 teams play one another and you have the elite quarterbacks, they show out. I know when you were watching the game yesterday, you were thinking about my take with Josh Allen about like, I know for a fact when he plays an alpha, he's not going to have a bad game. And I know he had that one interception where there was just a misread with him. And
but it's never a mistake that makes you go, oh my gosh, I've lost faith in this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always like a silly turnover, but there's like miscommunication. You just know that in a big spot, it's Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. I know Arabia, they're not going to not show up. And it sounds so simple, but that's how I feel about when I watch Josh Allen. And when I was watching that game, even though it was close going into halftime, I'm like, he's not going to fuck things up. Like I know he's going to deliver. The moment's not too big for him. And now he's the favorite for NFL MVP. I know we still got 7 games to go. But you know me, bro, if I could take a victory lap, no one's going to pat themselves on the back more than me. 9-1 to start the year for him to win MVP. Arabia, when you were watching this game, do you feel any different about Kansas City? Because we made a case last week that, yeah, they're 9-0, but they don't seem as dominant. They're finding ways to win. And they were reminding us, we had a member in the Discord, shout out to Jay Morgs. He said they kind of remind him of the Eagles last year, who were undefeated, but people didn't feel that good about them. But we said they have Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, and we've seen it, and we trust them. Is this something with the Chiefs that you feel the same way about?
Yeah, as far as if this game impacted how I feel about the Chiefs, no, not really, because even looking back to last season, they don't dominate by winning by 40 points. It's just they find ways to win, both by trading and just in the game. But I definitely feel like some Chiefs fans feel like, okay, we got the one loss out of the way. We can kind of breathe now. We are human. This one loss doesn't stop us from getting to the Super Bowl. My opinion about them doesn't really change. I think they're still able to just adjust and get these really sneaky wins.
Yeah.
Kind of feel the same way.
I mean, when you say sneaky wins, like I just think that that's the class of coach that they have. And when you look at, I think yesterday is a prime example of Sean McDermott finally learned, hey, we need to take control of the game when we can. That 4th and 2 call, I mean, you're talking about 70% of the NFL or more is kicking the field goal there to go up by 5, and they give Patrick Mahomes the ball back, which, by the way, I do trust the Bills defense in that situation. As crazy as it may sound, like I think the Bills are that sound of a team this year. So yeah, I'm very proud of Sean McDermott. Had he not done that, he may get fired at the end of the season.
So real quick, to piggyback off that, don't I always say don't kick the field goal unless it gives you an added possession?
Or else the crowd, like at this point in time, that's the only analytic where it doesn't matter. It needs to be full go every time. Go ice the game.
So they're up 2, right?
Yep.
They kick the field goal. They go up 5. A touchdown still beats you.
Correct.
If you don't get the touchdown, it's still one possession.
Correct.
Whereas you play aggressive and you get the touchdown, now they need the ball twice, which that's the only time I'm kicking.
Mm-hmm.
I want to kick, especially in the 4th quarter. Does it give me, if I'm up 6 and it's 4th and inches and it's a 40-yard field goal attempt, I'm going to take the field goal because now I'm up 9. You need the ball twice in 6 minutes. New onside kick rules. I think there's been 2 recoveries this year with the new onside kick rules. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm only kicking field goals if it means that you need to get the ball an extra possession.
Correct.
So I love that they were aggressive on that. And we've spoke about this all the time. In Arabia, we've always said that in order to beat Mahomes, you can't play conservative. You got to be aggressive and you got to try to take it to them. And you see the teams that do lose to them, it's always like, oh, they kicked the field goal. Now they're up 5 and there's 4 minutes left. You know they're going to go down and score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how we felt about that. Arabia, how do you feel about that take about only kicking field goals if it means you go up an extra possession?
Yeah, I kind of like that. Like you said, if it means that now you're going to need the ball 2 times, I get it. Makes sense to me. Because we've seen it a couple times this season, even with my team, with Dan Quinn. There was one part of the Eagles game where he decided to go for it on 4th down because this season the Commanders have been really, really good on 4th down conversions. But instead of kicking the field goal, he ended up going for it on 4th, turnover on downs. But at that point, we were only down by 2 points. So, yeah, I get it.
I'm always going for the kill there.
Yeah, you got to.
You got
to.
Because how many times is 1-5 going to come down and do that to you, bro?
I will say that's changed in the last 5 years in the NFL. Like, I just think teams and offenses can move the ball down the field a lot quicker. I think also the field possession, like stats, I don't have them in front of me to back it up, but teams are getting the ball on average a lot closer with these new kickoff rules that allows them to score more points. So yeah, you have to do it. But I remember growing up, you go up by 5 till about 2015. And then it's like, hey, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah, because now they'll definitely need a touchdown as opposed to a field goal. Yeah, that's true, man. I'm always for you need to get the ball more. Like now you need it twice.
Yeah, also, I think a lot of these teams are hiring statisticians and like paying a lot more attention to analytics. And then you have NFL next gen stats. And it seems like every year they just kind of try to get more and more advanced. I mean, the NFL still is very much bogged down by tradition, which is one of the advantages that the UFL has over the NFL, but that's another story. But now they have next gen stats where there are certain technological things placed into the players' shoulder pads, and there's all kinds of technology around the stadium where they track their shoulder pads and this and that. And so that there's no latency. They have all of that communicated upstairs, and upstairs they communicate with coaches downstairs. So with all this technology, more analytics are being reviewed in game so that they can make these decisions.
Yeah.
I feel you.
No, hey, I know what you're about to say, but tell me the shoulder pads doesn't make sense.
For sure.
Because you can see, all right, this player's slowing down. Maybe his heart rate's up. Let me go attack the corner who's at 140 beats a minute right now. That's getting really analytical.
Nah, for sure.
That's football for our kids in 20 years.
Yeah, but also, you know, my whole thing is also like, let's go back to Bengals and Ravens in week 5. They get the turnover, 3 straight carries with Chase Brown. Analytics say to kick the field goal. It's like, why are we running the ball when Burrow has, I think, 400 something yards passing? And my whole thing, Arabia, has always been, hey, do the analytics tell me that does it account for Daniel Jones being my quarterback? Or is it Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert? Because those are the analytics I want to know also. Because if it's telling me on 4th and 4 from the 43-yard line, the analytics say go for it, does it account for the quarterback? Or does it tell me don't go for it? Here, you should kick the field goal. 62-yard field goal attempt. But Burrow's 37 of 42. He's carving everyone up. So that's my only pushback with analytics. I think sometimes the eye test is big for me. And then also like situational, just because on 4th and 2 from the 33-yard line, I should kick. Well, is my quarterback just having one of those days where he's just carving people up? That's my only pushback, Arabia, on analytics.
Yeah, I completely get it. And I think that for that reason, there still needs to be a human element, which is ultimately why you communicate to your coach and your coach decides either way. But they do have a database. There are 2 different kinds of databases that they have for players with the next gen stats. And they do all kinds of measurements like routes run, yards per route, what type of route was run. And this is how they kind of just have this amalgamation of stats per player. And so they do come into play when they try to tell you to go or not to go. But I understand the human element still needs to be there for sure.
Yeah, and also I think just like the way teams draw plays, right? Which brings me to the biggest pet peeve I have leaving week 11. It's the Ravens-Steelers game. I will never understand why on 2-point conversions or 4th and goals or 4th and 2s, the rollout play. Why do we eliminate half the field with my quarterback? And hold on, what about this one, George? Lamar Jackson's a righty. They rolled him out to his left. I hate it, dude. I'll never understand it. Why not do...
You know why, Nick?
Talk to me. Please help me understand.
The NFL is 4D chess. Actually, it's infinity chess, right? Where it's just like, I'm going to do this because I know he's going to do this. But since he knows I'm going to do this, I'm going to do something else. And then before you know it, you have Lamar Jackson rolling out to his left. That's what happens in the NFL. And you could either say that's a great, like Mike Tomlin is one of a kind when it comes to showing exotic looks. And maybe Mike Tomlin knew if I line up in this, they're going to run that. But yeah, the NFL is that complicated when in reality, you put me and you in that situation. We're handing the ball to Derrick Henry right up the fucking middle.
Or I'm not rolling him out.
Yeah.
Because
put him in a wildcat and run a power like how they've done a lot in these past couple of years.
Also, what we just talked about, Josh Allen. Spread him out. 4th and 2. RPO. I can hand it off. I could. I'm 6'5", 6'6", however tall he is. Lamar is the most explosive quarterback in NFL history, probably. It's just dumb plays there, man. And I feel like, they're a team that with the analytics, sometimes they debunk it. Like there's been so many times that Harbaugh's been like, yo, Lamar, you want to go for 2? Lamar's like, yeah, let's go for 2. He's like, fuck it, let's go for 2, bro. And if they don't get it, they don't get it. But he's like, yo, I got your back in the press conference. It's like a famous clip where he's like, yo, Lamar, you want to go for 2? He's like, yeah, coach, let's go for 2. He's like, all right, man, I got you. If it don't work out, it don't work out. And I'm pretty sure it didn't work out that time that I'm referring to. But it's the biggest pet peeve I have. I hate when teams do that. Arabia, I know I've been long-winded on that. Thoughts on that play call in general, and then tell me how you feel about this game.
Yeah, I agree with your take because I've even seen it, and not to keep bringing up my team, but we play the Cowboys at some point, and so my team's like, well, this week. So my team's like, well, the Cowboys have really, really bad rush defense. We are really, really good with the run, but they're going to be expecting the run, so we should pass. And it's like, no. Don't overthink it. Like, it's a really good matchup. If they're bad rushing defense, then we should run. Don't try to anticipate what they're going to anticipate and then do something different and find yourself in a position. So, yeah, just do what you know works. Too many times I think offensive coordinators are trying to get super exotic and save their jobs and just play hero ball from the sideline, and it just doesn't end up working. So, for me, yeah, I'm spreading everybody out, RPO, kind of read the defense, see what I want to do. I'm Lamar Jackson. If I want, I can keep it. If not, I have options. And just play it that way. But whatever they did at the end there, and then Lamar Jackson is such a classy guy. Of course, in the press conference, he takes the blame. He's like, nah, it was, a quarterback draw. It was a design play like that. I just didn't execute it right. No, it wasn't, Lamar. It really wasn't. And we saw that it wasn't. But he's going to say that because he's a leader of the team. And it was horrible play calling.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And it reminds me of, I'll never forget, because that Super Bowl was in New York. When the Seahawks played the Broncos, Earl Thomas, they asked him, this is when Peyton Manning threw 55 touchdowns and this offense was so explosive. Mm-hmm. They're like, yo, are you guys going to do anything different? And he got a lot of heat for this. It might not have been Earl Thomas. It might have been Cam, but it was one of the LOB guys. And they said, are you guys going to do anything different? He's like, we're playing our base cover 2 and good luck. This is the shit that we do. Good luck. We're not going to adjust nah, man, this is our bread and butter to Arabia's point. Why are we getting so cute? This is what we do best. Mm-hmm. Golden State Warriors, we're going to shoot mad threes because we're the only team that can really do it at a high level. This is what we're doing. We're saying cover 2, and that's it. Power running football with Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Or Lamar, you're so versatile and you can make these quick decisions. Let's do that. Don't get too cute, man, because then what happens is you have him throwing lefty to try to make a play, and it goes to the offensive lineman.
Isn't it nuts that they're one of the best teams in the last 5 years in the NFL? You have an MVP quarterback twice, and dare I say, I have no clue what their offensive identity is. That's an issue. I told you this with the Lions. You see it now with the Chargers. Commit to one or the other. Let's get really good at running the football. Let's get really good at airing it out. What you see now with Bo Nix and the Broncos. They're committing to that. That's what these franchises need to do. And Lamar Jackson has kind of bailed them out with his athleticism to be like, all right, I guess we're a mixture of everything. They would be so much better if they were just like, this is what we're doing.
It's hard to argue against that, bro. I like that. You were on that with the Lions about they're a power running football team, and then the play action is what sets up everything for them. And then with the Ravens, it's kind of the same thing. They should be a power running team with Derrick Henry. I mean, he's in contention for offensive player of the year, MVP. Some people were saying Lamar was having an MVP season, but all this time we've just been either praising the Ravens or kind of dumping on them for losing in the play selection.
Yeah, or we're like, oh, he has no receivers, and then Zay Flowers goes off for a game, and we're like, oh, well, that's not the case, and it's like,
right. But I'm also saying in week 11 in particular,
correct.
Steelers 8-2. Arabia, did you see this coming?
I didn't see 8-2 coming, but I did see potentially the Steelers being kind of sort of up there in the division. But 8-2, I did not see coming at all. No, I did not. And again, they just have to be really careful because with the Ravens, of the 11 weeks this season, 8 of those games have been within one possession. So you try to be cute, but these games are really coming close. I think we saw them get cute in the AFC Championship game last year We saw how that worked out. They did not stay true to, at that point, what was their identity. They tried to become a totally different team in the AFC Championship game. And this year, again, these games are really coming down to one possession. All 4 of their losses have been within one possession. And then they have another element to worry about with Justin Tucker. There's a new wave of kickers in the NFL who seem to be rising to the top. Justin Tucker is still very much a useful kicker, but he struggled a little bit with one extra point in that Bengals game, which of course changes the trajectory of the game, because now, even if the Bengals do get that 2-point conversion that ties the game, it doesn't win the game. He missed 2 field goals in the Steelers game, and he's starting to just show, as far as Justin Tucker is concerned, the legend, the icon that he is, he has been struggling. And, you know, the new wave of kicker is in, so that's one more thing that the Ravens have to worry about. So the last thing that they need to do is try to get cute in these really close games that they've been having pretty much all season.
You're talking to someone that loves one-score game analytics. It's something that, like, in the sports betting space, professional sports bettors, for win totals and divisions and the ceiling on teams, it's been in the know for like decades, bro. Like the amount of times, Arabia, where they'd be like, oh, this team was 9-2 last year in one-score games. There's going to be regression. And even if you go 6-5, well, that's 3 less wins that you have. Are you a 10-7 team? Well, now you're going to be 7-10. That's a massive swing, right? That's if you're in the AFC South, that's you winning your division or missing the playoffs. So you couldn't have been more right. It's something that's very concerning, because look at the Bengals. All their losses by 1 score. You play with fire there. And then to her point about Justin Tucker, iconic kicker, has won them like 11x the games that he's lost them. But you're starting to see where, look, man, maybe all those years of banging out these 60-yard field goals and a 67-yard field goal that he hit against Detroit that one time, is it adding up? Who knows? I know he missed a 50-yarder in Heinz Field, if it's still called Heinz Field. They always change the names of stadiums like every other weekend, it seems like. He missed a long field goal. But then you look at Boswell, and they only beat them by field goals.
Yeah.
You know, the Steelers didn't score a touchdown. And then this is the other crazy part, right? Like, I've been on the Bengals bandwagon for years now, Arabia, and I bet them 2 weeks ago to win the Super Bowl. And now they're 100-1 to win the Super Bowl. I bet them at 40-1, so that's looking terrible. But McPherson missed field goals, right? And also Joe Burrow threw 9 touchdowns against the Ravens, and he lost both those games. And then the Steelers didn't score 1 touchdown, and they won.
Yeah.
It's like, football is crazy, man. Football is crazy. But Arabia, you make me so happy for mentioning the 1-score games. I've been talking about this for years.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane, because actually, I think there have been 7 overtime games so far this season, and almost half of them have been division games. You look at a team like the Bills, who are winning their division by a lot. Like a lot. But they also have been really close with the Dolphins. They have, 3 of their really close games have been with their division. So these 1-score games are super, super interesting.
Yeah, and the last thing about the Steelers, they were the last team in the NFL to play a division game that hadn't played a division game until now.
Yeah.
And look, they're 8-2. They've given themselves a lot of
leeway.
Yeah. A lot, because if you're the Bengals, you ain't got no leeway now, bro. You got to win out, right? We'll get to them in just a sec. But to her point, in division games with the Bills being close, Steelers short week at Cleveland, at Bengals, home Browns, at Eagles, at Ravens, home Chiefs, home Bengals. So they're playing
Gauntlet.
5 of their next 7 games are in division, and we saw the Browns beat the Ravens outright. This division is bar fights every time they play.
Mm-hmm.
So to her point, when you are in division, that's why they always say when you draft, when you build your roster, you want to beat the other 3 teams in your division first. You want to dominate that, because then, if you go 5-1 every year, find 4 wins elsewhere, and you'll probably be in the playoffs, right? So you get a playoff berth by winning your division. So yeah, that's a great point, man. And their schedule is going to get tough. It's going to get tough. Are you buying into the Steelers, Arabia?
Sure, why not? They look really good. I don't know how far they're going to make. I don't really see a Super Bowl for the Steelers this year. Don't tell Stat I said that. We're going to pretend like I did. But, I think they'll, of course, get there and then fall off somewhere. I don't see them winning the AFC.
You know what's crazy? If they make the playoffs and you look at the landscape of the AFC, they might have the worst quarterback come playoff time.
Yeah, but you're talking about the
future Hall of Famer Russell Wilson that I've claimed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're fine though. I actually kind of like this two-headed monster thing that they brought Justin Fields in for a carry this past game, which goes to show me that there are definitely some packages in there where.
Well, hold on. He almost was about to get crucified because he slid short of the first down where he had it.
Yeah.
And he just slid in. You're like, oh man, I felt so bad for him, bro. Because not only did you lose your job, you were about to lose this game for them if they ended up not getting it.
Yeah.
But they did. So it's like, oh, they bailed me out. But yeah, to your point, I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I feel like if you have multiple quarterbacks, you don't have any kind of thing. Just stick to one.
Yeah, but the NFL, your backup's always going to play. Like, you got to think about it. It's really only the juggernauts that haven't seen both quarterbacks yet.
And listen, this is coming from the guy that said Taysom Hill 2 touchdowns last week, so he's feeling himself with the multiple. You know what I'm saying? All right, the other game I want to discuss. Fucking Bengals, man.
It's crazy. That was a crazy comeback. You know how much I love Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow touchdowns, but god damn. It's we got too confident in kickers all of a sudden. Like I heard so many people at the beginning of the year, oh my gosh, kickers are so automatic. I think it was a lot like my dad. He's like, you watch these NFL games, these kickers just don't miss anymore. I'm like, what fucking NFL games have you been watching? Because it's gotten really bad lately. Do you think we've cursed kickers?
Bro, I think teams became so comfortable with kickers hitting 50-yarders because we saw so many 50-yarders being hit. But then you remember it's still a 50-yard attempt.
It looks far. Like when they kick from the middle of the logo, oh my God.
Dude, it's a bomb.
Of course.
Yeah. And also like this week, you saw a lot of, I think the Rams kicker missed like a 26-yard field goal.
Twice.
Yeah. Like it's for as much as they were hitting bombs, they were missing a couple under 40, which is crazy, right? But I want to talk about the Bengals because they almost had an epic comeback. And as I'm watching that game, Arabia, I've been talking about this shit for years. Wins and losses are not quarterback stats. Wins and losses are not quarterback stats. Shout out to social media manager George for putting up the clip, resurfacing it. But Joe Burrow, in 7 losses this year, 67% of his passes he's completing, 2,100 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Those 7 losses are on his career record now. We got to do something about that. Wins and losses are not QB stats. It's not fair when his kicker misses or their defense can't stop anybody. Their defense is giving up, in all his losses, they're giving up like 30 points a game.
Yeah.
And teams are just doing whatever they want. Lou Emmer, what happened, Lou? The number 2 best thing to come out of Staten Island behind the Wu-Tang. What's going on? Now he can't stop nobody.
Nope.
Before it was this next genius at defensive coordinator. Now he can't stop no one. And bro, the most frustrating thing is not even because I'm financially invested in the Bengals. They're so fun to watch, bro. When Higgins is in there and Chase is in there and Chase Brown and Gesicki and Ilyasova,
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yoshivash.
Number 80? Yoshivash, there you go. Like, dude, this team is amazing. Like a top offense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to even make the playoffs probably because they got to win out and then start scoreboard watching, which is the worst thing. I hate that. But Arabia, do you feel like wins and losses should be quarterback stats or what?
Not always, but I don't think it's as binary as yes or no. I think for the most part, no, because like in Joe Burrow's case, we saw that Bengals defense had give up 21 unanswered points. for the most part, the Bengals have been struggling with a run this season, which always helps the pass game. We saw McPherson miss 2 field goals. So there's enough that we've seen, even just from this game, to say, okay, the quarterback can play well, but they can't do everything. But we've also seen other cases where, of course, a quarterback can elevate the play of the offense and carry a team on its back. So sometimes yes, sometimes no. But if I had to choose one, I would say no. Wins and losses aren't just automatically a quarterback stat.
You know what I think the plane ride was for McPherson? I think McPherson, we'd be like, yo, bro, can you like pass me a bottle of water? And like, you're McPherson. Can we get a full on this one real quick? And like, this is probably what they were doing. Like, you're McPherson and I'm someone else. They'd be like this.
Can I get? Oh, Nick.
Just walk away from you, bro. This fucking guy, man. We travel across the country and you're missing these field goals. That's how I think they was doing them bad, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
well deserved though.
Yeah, I would say he's got to sit like in like the stewardess's seat, like that hard ass. It just flops down. You sit in the back, bro.
You sit in the back.
In the very back.
In the back.
Yeah,
fuck that.
I don't want to see you.
Yeah, it got to be rough, man, for kickers. It got to be rough for the kickers. But to her
shout out to the UFL, because this is one of the reasons why I really, really like spring ball. Is that 2 of some of the best kickers in the NFL right now coming from the UFL with Jake Bates and Brandon Audrey, who is doing pretty well for Dallas, but also Adam Seibert before he got hurt was doing super well, and Steelers kicker Chris Boswell doing super well, and a lot of these people who I think we see as automatic aren't perfect, but there are some kickers out there who are doing really, really well.
Remember when I said that she's a football junkie and like she knows the ball? She's mentioning UFL.
No, she just opened my eyes to something that I really think kickers should look into. I want my kicker to play UFL. Hey, your season isn't done, buddy. Hey, you kick a ball, all right? You're not making tackles. You're going to fucking play for the Argonauts in the spring, all right?
You're playing year-round.
You're playing year-round. You're a golfer. What are we doing taking a break here, all right? Derrick Henry gets the break. You go kick.
Yeah. That's really interesting, man. The
Double
more that
up
I
the
think
back.
about it. Yeah. Or maybe play like arena football, because if that's even a thing anymore, it's like a lot
Thinner
of a
Yeah,
like, bro, why not? Why not?
It's one of those things where like the kicker actually has like probably a more natural transition from the UFL to the NFL, because for the most part, there's not too much different compared to other position groups. And also, I think just like every other professional league has a minor league, the NFL doesn't have an official minor league. If the UFL and the NFL are in conversations about the UFL being an official minor league, where there's that official pipeline to and from, where, some players who are struggling can go to the UFL and vice versa, I think that would also be super interesting.
Dude, I love this more and more that I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. I will never watch the UFL. No disrespect to everyone over there. I'm pretty bougie. If you're not in the NFL, I ain't watching professional football. Arabia, a couple of years ago, I was saying, you know what? I tried to give the XFL a chance after the NFL season ended, and I watched 1 quarter, and I'm like, you know what? I think my perception of football has changed. I don't think I love football. I think I love NFL football. George's brother is the left tackle for Arkansas. I'm now a Razorback fan because of that, because I'm invested in Junior. That's our dog, friend of the podcast. But besides that, like, this is the most college football I've watched this year, and it's only been Arkansas games. And honestly, it's been like 5 of them also. So like, if it ain't NFL football, I'm not doing it. But maybe I should. Maybe I should be open to it.
Yeah.
Arabia just stunned it on us with like UFL takes, and I love it, dude. It's so true. Like Derrick Henry, Pat Mahomes, Jamar, you guys take a break. Graham Gano, what are we doing,
Bro,
come on.
going.
You gotta stay active.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going. The last game I want to talk to you about, Arabia, is what do you think of Denver and what do you think of Atlanta? I had this take last week that I said, look, Kirk Cousins, he's getting a lot of praise. Atlanta's first in the division. They're probably the division leader right now that I think falls. I don't trust them. I don't like what I'm seeing. I really think Kirk Cousins, if you look at the footage, if you look at the game logs, you take away the 2 Bucks games and the Cowboys game, he has 6 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions, and he's 3-5 on the season if it's not for that.
It's abysmal.
He's not playing that well. And I think now you're looking at it like, yo, Michael Penix pick, maybe they knew something by taking it because he's not, he's still coming off the Achilles. We get that. He don't look good. I don't like Atlanta. We gave out the Bucks last week, even though they came off the loss. We're like, yo, plus 500 to win the division. Guess what? They're plus 275 now.
Shocker.
Your Saints, 30-1.
Love to see it.
You gave that take. And the magic number is, can you still get to 10 wins? Saints would have to win outright. But, I think the South could be like a 8-win team wins the division.
The NFC South is Southin'.
Yeah, it's staying on brand. It's staying on brand. Arabia, thoughts on the Falcons, and do you agree or disagree with my Kirk Cousins take?
Yeah, to me, I know Kirk Cousins very well from the Redskins, so I'm kind of biased there. But the Kirk Cousins is kind of a high-ish ceiling, low-ish floor. You just don't know which Kirk Cousins you're going to get when he comes out. And as far as the Falcons, 4 of their 6 wins this season have been division games. They're 4-1 in the division. Outside of the division, they're not super impressive. Their only really impressive win outside of their division was the Eagles. And even that game, you can kind of look at that Saquon Barkley drop. You can kind of look at the Eagles defense imploding with that 2-minute drill. But, I guess the Falcons ended up winning, so sure. Also on defense, they get Simmons and they get Matthew Judon. And I've heard a lot of criticism with Matthew Judon and saying that this is his first time since 2018 having less than 10% of his snaps will be pressures. But also, this is his first time since 2018 being double teamed for 20% of his snaps. So that kind of matches up. The pass rush isn't necessarily an individual fix so much as it is a defensive fix altogether. And I don't think Jimmy Lake is putting those guys in positions to perform very well. I think it's like good players, bad scheme, in my opinion. And so the Falcons just really have to prove themselves outside of the NFC South. The NFC South has not produced a 10-win team since like 2021 or something like that. So it's cool that they're winning in their division, but can you win outside of your division? That's kind of what we're going to have to look at moving forward. And they've kind of been just teasing Michael Penix, right? Like a couple times they put him in and he passed once, I think, last game. They're teasing him. They're not starting him. I don't know if they're just saving Kirk Cousins and that Achilles and taking him out so that he doesn't hurt himself, but teasing Michael Penix and seeing what happens later on this season.
Yeah, that's how do you feel about Bijan Robinson? Do you think he should stay as a Falcon, or would you like to see him flourish for one of the 31 other teams?
I think Bijan Robinson would love DC. I think DC would love Bijan Robinson. I think you should maybe, keep your options open. Beautiful views, beautiful homes, beautiful women, nice food. I think he should explore DC. That's just my personal unbiased opinion.
No, I think that's great. Because it would be a amazing fit, and it's gonna happen. Like, I watched Bijan Robinson yesterday, and I was just like, man, out of all the first round picks, like, I don't feel the same way about Kyle Pitts. Like, Kyle Pitts, you can fuck.
We've been waiting.
Stay where you're at, dog.
Yeah.
But Bijan, get out. You need it. Hey, look at me. Get out as quick as possible. It is not going to be good for you, my friend.
Yeah, it's he probably has the greatest 7-yard gain highlight tape ever. Like, the amount of times that this dude just jukes the shit out of people, and then you look up and it's like a 1st and 10, and now it's 2nd and 3. You're like, yeah, I thought this was like a 30-yard gain, because he'll catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage, make a lot of people miss. Or the amount of times where he just stops, okey dokes, puts a move on like 2 people, and then he gets tackled. You're like, damn, bro, this guy should be. He's not being utilized the right way in Atlanta. And I'm tired of like Kyle Pitts. We've been waiting with generational talent at the tight end position. I mean, shit, the Raiders got one. You saw your boy Brock yesterday?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Brock Bowers, truther over here. He went nuts, set all these records. And then Kyle Pitts, like, yeah, I'm not excited about Atlanta, man. I really think that, I didn't bet the Bucks last week when we should have. I did bet the Rams when I said to bet the Rams at plus 500. And now that division's like kind of up for grabs too, unless you really trust the Cardinals, who are coming off a bye this week. Atlanta is just, I think they're the team that is currently first in their division that I think falls off the most. And I know we've been talking about Atlanta, who got smoked. That was one of my favorite bets last week. Denver minus 1.5. I was like, yo, bro, there's no way. Like, there's no way. Denver is really, really good. And Bo Nix, another one of your guys. This has been a good episode for you, bro. It was a good week for George.
It's really fucked up that all the people you're saying that I'm a truther of they're white guys. So like I gotta diversify who I'm truthing.
No, but Bijan Robinson, bro. You want Bijan to save
but
himself and get out of there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I was trying to help Bijan. Yeah.
Right.
But people are already on that Bijan's good. I got to go find a nice prospect that
For sure.
under the radar.
For sure.
But I'll work on that.
But Bo Nix closed the gap on Arabia's quarterback, Jaden Daniels, for Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's still Jaden. You know, Jaden is anywhere from -600, -700, which is still a sizable favorite. But, you know, before the Thursday night football game last week, he was -2,000. $2,000 wins you $100. Now it's $600 wins you $100. And Bo Nix came out and he's been playing really well. Arabia, how do you feel about Denver? Is this a team that you're buying stock on?
No, but it does seem like that division is also trying to send 3 to the playoffs with the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Broncos. There's another division like that trying to send 3, of course, the NFC North. So, they could very well do it. 2 good divisions. Turns out I wasn't expecting 3 from the AFC West, but, don't really think they're going to do much this season.
Yeah, that NFC North, bro. That NFC North is, I mean, shit, both North divisions too. I know the Bengals are at least good, right? They're just not, they're losing all these 1-score games, to Arabia's point earlier on the show. But they're going to have multiple teams in there. The NFC North is going to have multiple teams, and then the AFC West. Like, I think Denver's the team that next year, they'll be this year's Houston.
I'm praying that the Chargers go on a run and like they're better than the Broncos. I don't want the Broncos to make the playoffs.
Bingo. Yeah.
What?
And just because I want to bet them to win the Super Bowl next year at a really good price, even though it's extremely unrealistic and I'm going to sound like an idiot, but I think they're, with that combination, that offensive firepower that is like a potential of happening there, I don't see why not. Bo Nix is the second coming of Brett Favre.
Well, also to Arabia, so like we weren't connected around this time last year, but we were talking about the Packers and the Texans, and both of those teams. I was like, man, you know what? These 2 teams, I'm gonna bet on them next year to win the conference, win their divisions. And then all the hype, both of them won playoff games. Both of them went into the next round. And there was a lot of just upside, young quarterbacks, young roster. These are the teams. But then from a betting standpoint is what we're talking about.
It ruins them.
It just ruins them because now everyone was on. CJ Stroud was like the 4th favorite to win NFL MVP. The Texans had the 3rd best odds in the AFC behind it was the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Bengals, and then them. And you're like, this hype is just getting, so that we mean it more so from the hype, right? So like if the Broncos do miss the playoffs, you're probably going to get a better number on them from like a betting standpoint. And maybe they'll be under the radar as opposed to if they make the playoffs and like they win a game, then it's like, oh dude, 2nd-year quarterback, Sean Payton, they got this cap space that they could have. That's what we mean by that, just to add some context to what we were saying.
Okay, that makes sense. I have a question. Do you
Sure.
think that sports betting, and I know this is probably like a longer answer, but you can make it short. Do you think that sports betting has changed your stature as a fan? Like, do you enjoy the game more or less now that you're looking at it through a lens of like sports betting? Like, do you think that sports betting is changing like fandom in general and people's ability to just sit down and watch a game? Like, how do you think it's changing people's ability to just sit down and be entertained by a game?
This is an unbelievable question. Unbelievable question. Round of applause real quick. That was really good. Seriously, it has changed, right? I'd be lying to you if I said it didn't. It makes a lot of things more interesting. It also opens up your eyes to what is the perception of your team. Everyone has high hopes. Everyone always thinks my team's going to win the Super Bowl, especially if you're like a Cowboys fan, right? You're always like super irrational. And a lot of Raider fans out here too. They're like, this is the year. It's like, no, it's not. You have a 5.5 win total. You're probably not going to achieve much. So there's an objective status that gets attached to your team from a betting perspective. Now, game to game, it does make it a lot more interesting when you're financially invested on something. But then you also you understand like what it means to be an underdog. What teams, when their back is against the wall, do you like betting on? Chargers as an underdog, love them. Chargers as a favorite, not really. And it factors into real football, right? Like if you're an underdog, you're probably going to be trailing at some point. Do you have the kind of offense that could bring you back? Justin Herbert loves to throw the ball, right? Joe Burrows of the world. Pat Mahomes, up until this week, had one loss as an underdog in his career. So it does change it. Now, fandom for me, I've always been pretty rational with my teams. Like I never go into a season saying this is the year, this is the year. I'm pretty objective with my teams, and I'm able to make money on that because I'm like, there's no way the Giants should be 6.5-point favorites against the Panthers. I don't care if they play in MetLife State, in the old Giants stadium, and Eli Manning's the quarterback. If the roster's the same, like, no. So if you're honest about your team and you're logical about your team, I think you can make a lot of money. But also, since I really got into sports betting crazy, the Giants haven't been that good. So for me, I've kind of become more of my fandom has lessened, but I think it's because my team isn't that good.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do really
It would be like Arabia. I'm not looking forward to the day that the Giants are good.
Oh my God.
Nick
if you think I'm annoying now,
I know.
Let them be good, bro. Let me get my hands on like a Archie Manning or a Shador Sanders, or like, it'll never happen because they're going to build a statue for him. But like, imagine if like Josh Allen came to the Giants with Daboll and Joe Schoen, who's probably going to get fired. Both of them are, but I'm just saying, dude,
yeah,
I'm going to be annoying if my team is good.
No, I mean, just going back to your question though, Arabia, I think something that really highlights the biggest difference between like life before sports betting and what I'm trying to get to here is just you think everybody is really good in the NFL. Like if you're able to make it to the NFL and you're on the Saints, I would assume that your talent level is good. Sports betting allows you to understand how good they actually are. And that, as a fan, really puts a lot into perspective because you realize that there are the unicorns on each team. Not every player is capable of doing insane things. And without the sports betting numbers, like as a fan, you really, you just think like, of course, this kid went off at Florida. Now on our team, he should be amazing. And then, like you were saying with the win totals, when it comes out, like you're gonna know how good he actually is. So that is like one of the better questions we've ever had.
For sure. And I hope we kind of rambled a little bit, but I hope that answered your question. Did you get a little bit more clarity on that?
Yeah, you definitely answered it. I think it's interesting because, like you said, maybe it does open you up to all 32 teams and not just your team, which could be a really big advantage. And also, you're just looking at it more in depth, which could maybe even help you enjoy the game of football even more, enjoy the NFL even more, enjoy play, just have a better appreciation for the game because you're more invested in it with your time, your energy, and your money. So that's interesting. I just think this sports betting space is very interesting, and I've been wanting to have like a larger, longer conversation about it. So that little sneak peek in it was interesting. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and also like the team that popped into my head, right? The Detroit Lions. Everyone knows about Jared Goff when he plays indoors versus outdoors. A lot of that is a sports betting handicap, right? I know they won that game against the Packers, and that was one of the big reasons why I was on the Packers. And look, Arabia, it's not always going to be the be all end all, right? Like that's why there's a human element and that's why we play the games. But, when he's indoors, he covers the spread as a favorite 70% of the time, which means as a favorite, he wins when they play indoors. But when he goes outdoors, even as a favorite, it's like 32%. So he's more likely to play worse on the road outdoors as opposed to anywhere indoors. So a lot of that comes into play. You understand trends like, hey, look, this team is really good, but they always struggle against a Jim Schwartz defense, right? Or like Andy Reid off a bye. Why was that originated? It's because of the sports betting, right? Injury reports were originally created for the sports betting. It's like, why should we tell you that our guy isn't playing? Oh, Vegas wants to know. because where the Commanders are a 10-point favorite this week against Dallas, if Jaden Daniels is out, they're probably a 4-point favorite.
Yeah.
So that's where you start to understand the value of quarterbacks and players. And, you know, someone like you who's not really familiar with this space, you might see a Justin Jefferson is out this week, right? And you might be like, oh my God, I don't like the Vikings this week in this matchup. It's going to be terrible for them. But then you look and they were a 7-point favorite without him. They're still a 7-point favorite. So they're telling you, like, it doesn't really matter as much. Maybe Justin Jefferson, it does. He was just the first guy that came to my head. But, like, it lets you understand the value of players on a broader scale.
Okay. It's very interesting. Definitely gain some clarity. Thank you.
Are you just trying to save your money, or how come you haven't dabbled in this? I feel like you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just haven't dedicated time, like prioritized actually looking into it. I'll throw like a little FanDuel, whatever, underdog bet here and there, but I don't really dedicate too much time to it. I have 2 fantasy leagues. I probably put way more time and energy into my fantasy leagues than I do sports betting. But it's really, really interesting to me the way that things have shifted, even the past 10 years with sports betting and how popular it is and what that means for potentially rigged games or potentially changing people's fandom. I mean, we've seen fantasy change people's fandom with like getting really attached to players who aren't on their team or really mad at players who are on their team. And the whole thing is just very interesting to me.
No, it's a whole different lane of watching and understanding sports. And then also the last thing I'll say on this, and I'm so happy that you got to ask that question, because my favorite kind of conversations are ones like this where you're also engaging us in conversation. And this is something I've been super passionate about since I was like 7 years old. And you look at sports from a different lens. And I'll tell you this, I have so many friends, Arabia, that know sports 10 times better than me. They can't bet for shit. They just go, oh, yo, of course this team's going to win. Like, oh, not by 9.5, bro. On the road, in the snow.
Yeah.
Like, obviously they're better. And that's the reason why the point spread was created also. Because it's like, all right, the Commanders are going to beat the Cowboys this week. But are they going to beat them by 10? I don't know. In division, they always play tough. That's where they try to create money coming in on both sides. So this is something that, you know, we got to get you. If you ever come to Vegas, please, the seat is available for you. We would love to have you in studio. I have a feeling like you'll probably be popping into Vegas at some point, coming over here, especially with the work that you do with It Is What It Is and everything you got going on. Friend of the show, all 32 NFL on Instagram. The floor is yours before we sign off with you. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's late over by you. You always show us love. It means a lot. Thanks for your contributions to It Is What It Is as well. And thanks for coming on the show. Tell the people where they could find you and all the stuff you're working on.
You can find me at All 32 NFL on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, also Facebook. Don't post too much over there, but those 5 social media platforms on It Is What It Is. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. The biggest thing before I go is that the Giants are so bad.
There we go.
Are you ashamed of yourself for being a Giants fan? They just benched Daniel Jones. What does this, I mean, I just have so many questions about your trash ass organization. As you know, second in our division, it's kind of hard to even hear your answer from all the way up here. It's just such a huge gap between us two. But it's very interesting to see the organization that you're a fan of, that you rep so proudly, and how it's going to move forward with Tommy DeVito, Mr. Cutlets. What does this mean for you in the draft? I mean, what a fucking dumpster fire. I hope that you're ashamed of yourself, and I hope that you get yourself in this really weird draft position thing where you just never get really, really good. But shout out to your defense.
You can't see it right now, Arabia, but he's got a boner. Like, he really, like, he fucking gets turned on when people talk bad about his team like that. So I just had to let you know.
Yo, Arabia, I love that so much. I love when people troll me. That's how I know that we're friends. I'm really upset that Tommy DeVito is starting. Like, it pissed me off today because this shit happened last year, and your quarterback is your quarterback because of Tommy Cutlets. So he's going to come in there. He's going to win 3 games he has no business winning, and he's going to fuck up yet another draft class. And I've said this time and time again. We are 4 years away from being a year away. So this is only going to make things worse. Thank you for the WWE promo that you
That was
cut on
so
me
good.
before you signed off. But I'll still be the gentleman in the class act and make sure I have all the social media handles in the description of the bio. Thanks, Arabia. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
Later. Thank you so
Later.
much. All right, George, let's get into Patreon, man.
All righty.
Since you're hosting, you got to do the Patreon read. This is the first time someone else is going to do the Patreon read besides me. So I want to
Shit.
see you. Are you stressed?
Am I stressed? No, I've heard these names 1,000 times.
Let's go, bro.
But it's time for the Patreon roll call. These people are dedicated listeners, supporters, lovers. They've invested a ton of money into us, and hopefully they've followed what we've put down for them so they can make a return on their investment. But those people are Mahul Patel, Daniel Gibson, Derek Platees, Dylan Chadwick, Jordan Riley, Devin Rendon, Mike Stevens, Nick Crummich, Thomas Robinson, Abel Resin, and Ben Kotzian. Shout out to the new members, Alex Perez and Giovanni Morales. Legends. I'm doing a good job of it. Legends. For just $1, you can change your betting misfortunes. I was telling Nick that we are the wishing well for sports bettors, meaning if you donate to us and you put in the good vibe into the ether, just $1, your cold streak can turn quickly into a hot streak. So yeah, Nick, that's that. That is Patreon. Make sure patreon.com/veterans minimum.
Oh, that was tremendous. That was tremendous. I might have to make you do this. Why not?
All right. Well, we'll see if I can like convert more people. That I really am behind this. Like, we are the good vibes.
Yeah,
It's like church.
dude, $1. Like I've said,
The
$1.
church of sports betting.
$1. That's
Yeah.
2 cold brews a year. Gets you a yearly contribution to the Patreon. That's all
That
we
is
asked
true.
for.
Two coffees.
2 coffees.
Two
You
coffees.
can't pass on 2 coffees and give it to the boys.
Do it.
Do it. Like George said, patreon.com/veterans minimum. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of an update. Becky lost again. That bitch.
What are we gonna do?
I love Becky G too, but she let me down already. 3-8 on the year is Becky, formerly known as Adriana. In this economy, 7-6 on the year. Nico Collins did not score a touchdown. Ursulita is 3-9 on the year. Sorry, 3-8. 3-8. Trust me. Hey. Trust
The
McGurk.
lamb.
9-2. Toxic 1, 6-4. That's 27-25 on the year here. And the Patreon record, 3-2 was the record in week 11. 22-15 on Patreon. George, what do you got?
So my up-to-date record, my toxic one is 4-6. Ursulita for me this year is 3-4. Trust me, 5-4. In this economy, 5-4. And my Becky, she's a premium Becky. She's 6-4 right now. So I have been zigzagging a lot, but I promise you I'm about to get hot as fuck. The vision has never been clearer in the NFL. I'm overall right now. Last week I was below 500. I said no more of that. I'm the Mike Tomlin of this show. No going under 500. I'm now 23-22 after a monster performance, as you already know. Yes.
I like this.
Yes.
I like this. Let's get into Monday winners.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, Monday winners, 9-3-1 on the year. Bet it now, bet it early.
Got to
You know
get
what I'm
to
saying?
it.
You got to get to it. Last week had the Steelers and we had the Niners. Dude, the Niners. We didn't get to talk about this with Arabia. I think they're toast. I do not like how they look. And you know what? I should have trusted myself, bro. Remember in the preview show before we started recording, I was like, dude, I have 2 hot takes. One is Baltimore not making the playoffs. That's aging terribly. After week 2, I felt good. They were 0-2. But I wanted to say the Niners, bro. A lot of just like bad vibes around them, right? You had the IU contract, the Williams contract, their number 1 pick got shot.
Yeah.
Right? Debo had gotten hurt. McCaffrey was hurt. Like there was just a lot of bad vibes around them. The division improved. They weren't my division winner, But then I was just thinking, they got a lot of talent, bro. They're gonna at least make the playoffs. I don't think they do. I don't like how they look. I think that was a bad loss yesterday. I'm also salty as hell that they lost at home against the Seahawks. That they couldn't even win outright for the parlay that we put last week. Last week we put the parlay, bet it on the spread, but then I also bet it money line, and then I probably would have hedged something with the Chargers to at least win my money back. When I do hedge, that's what I do.
Just
right.
Get your
So
money
full
back.
transparency. I had $200 parlays, lost them both, but my plan going into the Sunday Night Football game, if all that would have hit, I would have just money lined the Chargers to win back the 200. Because like, I would never screenshot that. They're like, oh, I won my money back. No, It's like, no, we're going for home runs. This is why we want to be remembered.
Facts.
So I'm off on the Niners. I don't think they're a playoff team. Thoughts?
The boombox seems corny as fuck right now, doesn't it? Like, if I was a 49ers fan and I saw them coming out with the boombox, I'd be like, hey, we got to turn that boombox on. How about we walk into the stadium like warriors about to go to war instead of fucking, seeing what's walking up and down New York City on the daily. I mean, I'm sure you working flipping eggs. You saw the fucking boombox walking down a lot.
Oh, dude, crazy. Yeah.
Not necessarily the best.
Not the best choice of music, not the best boombox.
It's just clunky and it's corny and it's, hey, your time's up. The 49ers, it was a good run.
You know what
dare
else
I
too?
say, bro, it's Kyle Shanahan. But I mean, like, I don't want to.
You know what else it is too? It's like it organically was so cool when they first did it.
Yep.
It's like you can't bring it back for 3 more years.
The song
Like
updates,
the turnover chain.
Yeah.
That was dope the first year teams did it in college. If you're still doing it, it's like, can we find something different?
They have to do it now. I hope you know this.
Yeah.
Like all these teams, they have every sort of fucking trinket on the sideline to reward their players for doing what they're supposed to do. Getting an interception is cool.
Maybe not have a chain. Let's go with like something crazier, like golden cleats or
bro.
like, I don't know.
Ole Miss would
The cowbell?
fire
that-
extinguisher.
Oh, yeah?
Fire extinguisher. When a player gets hot, they fire extinguisher him down.
Kind of like that.
They also had a basketball hoop, which was fucking sick.
Okay.
Because they were throwing oops to each other after a touchdown.
I fuck
That
with
happened a lot. Arkansas lost 63-31 that game.
A lot of alley-oops.
I saw Lane Kiffin's son was fire extinguishing the entire crowd. It was nuts. Oh, Monday winners. Very hot for you. I should fire extinguisher you.
Dude, Monday winners. I have one that I like. So I'm conflicted here
Okay.
because the one that jumped out to me was Philly on the road, Sunday Night Football against the Rams. Now, the reason why I'm conflicted is I want the Rams to win the division. But the Eagles are 2.5-point favorites right now. They are coming off extended rest because they played on Thursday Night Football. We'll talk about Saquon Barkley later this week because we've been paying attention. They're 6-0 since the bye week, and they're crushing teams with scrimmage yards, more than 100 yards on all of their opponents. I think the matchup with Dijon, shout out to the white cornerbacks, and Mitchell, Mitchell?
Yeah, he's locked down, bro.
Defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
He's like shutting down everyone immediately.
Got
And
it.
you've seen this trend of like Patrick Surtain,
Bro, it's first year
Sauce.
corners. It's
They
the
come
low
in
mileage.
guns blazing, bro.
It really started with Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
I feel like that really ignited this
Yeah.
young rookie cornerback trend. But
and
yeah,
and they match up well with the Rams wide receivers. And also one thing to note, there's probably going to be 80% Eagles fans in that game at SoFi.
100.
So I think you're getting them valued how you should. They should be favorites in this game. And dare I say they should be 4-point favorites. So I like this up until 4. Give me the Eagles -2.5 as my Monday winner. What do you got?
I like it. That is a very comprehensive breakdown. My Monday winners, dude, there's a couple of things that I've kept my eye on. So the first thing I had to look at was, who are the Bears playing? I mean, this joke of a fucking organization who's on the verge of firing their coach week in and week out is not a touchdown underdog. Blows my mind. I love the Vikings in that case. They're -3.5 right now. That one jumps out to me. And then another one is the Broncos versus the Raiders. This is a in division, we are this good type of statement win that the Broncos can have. Really bury the Raiders for the season. So I know those two teams I'm feeling confident in. Let me lock those two in. I'm going to go Broncos -4.5, and then give me the Vikings -3.5. And then I have to ask you this question. Ravens Chargers Monday Night Football. What are you thinking about that? Because
we have become such good friends. I'd even say best friends, and I think you figured out how I like to bet.
Yeah.
Because that was my other one.
Chargers.
Yeah. Chargers as a dog.
At home.
Oh, yeah, dude. Monday night. Yeah. Chargers +3. You got it. You got to just, and yo, Harbaugh Brother Bowl.
It's a huge game.
Massive game. Because, bro, look, if you're the Chargers, right? Division is not out of the realm of possibilities. You're only 2 back. You have one more game against Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you could, if you're in the AFC, you want the 5 seed as a wild card because you play Houston. No disrespect to Houston. It's better than playing in Pittsburgh, in Buffalo, or in Kansas City round 1. I'd rather play Houston.
Yep.
So you're going for that. And this is a massive game here, man. This is not a loser leaves town match because I think both of these teams are playoff teams, but winner has a driver's seat to winning that first round in the playoffs.
And
so yeah, I'm on the Chargers as well.
Going back to our conversation from earlier, the Chargers are a team that has identified their identity, that is running the football, in my opinion. And yeah, they've made Justin Herbert's life a lot easier. He is making effortless decisions. And you see a lot of these NFL quarterbacks having to make a lot of, it's tough for Lamar Jackson. RPOs aren't easy. You know what is easy? I'm going to hand it to the big motherfucker behind me, power left, and he's going to take us to the promised lands.
I hope he doesn't.
I know.
Hey,
keep making it difficult on yourself, Lamar.
Listen, Lamar, if you hear this, don't hand it off to number 22. Even though it's the best case scenario for your team and for you, for us, it's not. So if you don't want to hand it to 22, be my guest. It'd be greatly appreciated with the 30-1 on Saquon. By the way, them two play each other in a couple of weeks. Ravens, Eagles. That can be awfully reminiscent of Ravens, Niners last year.
Yep.
OPOY is on there. And before we go, I did a little digging.
Yeah.
Someone said Jamar Chase, Offensive Player of the Year in the summer. And that someone wasn't me. We got to put a bow on this episode with George once again, dude.
I think I've officially graduated. I mean, you've been saying it the past couple of weeks. He's new into the betting space, but I think it's just like Arabia was trying to get to, like, what's the difference? What really is the difference between being a fan? Does it taint you or anything? It's just, listen, I knew ball, and then I translated the ball to the numbers. He was 12-1 at the time. And although the Bengals have played like shit, I mean, god damn. His grill has never looked better, by the way.
He might do the Triple Crown, and Joe Burrow has MVP numbers. He might be Offensive Player of the Year, and they're not going to make the playoffs. Football is so crazy.
That's
man.
awesome.
Football is
And
so
he didn't get a
crazy.
contract signed this year.
Yeah, but he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. And yeah, I'll tell you this much before we wrap. If I was in his shoes, you know how I'm petty and I'm a spiteful SOB.
Yeah.
I'm making it through this year. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Joe, I know you my dog. We've been together for almost a decade now, it seems like. I'm out.
Yeah. And he's super spiteful. And you know who is going to pay him? The Ravens. I know people say that these fucking interdivision trades never happen, or you don't let your good players go. Ask Patrick Queen how that went. It's gonna happen
in division.
Yeah.
Oh. Listen, bro. I think both of them are gone, Higgins and him. And then, bro, it's like, see what you got, bro.
Have fun with Yoshi
Voss. Dude, I would love if they kept them, but Higgins is a 25. He might be. Oh, if it's Ayuk, he's way better than Ayuk.
Yeah.
Way better than Ayuk. I just caught a cramp.
Oh, shit.
I really just caught a cramp.
No way.
Yeah, on my left. Wrap it up, George. Give us an
Mr.
outro.
George Carmona is where you can find me. And Nick is we're gonna have to cart him off the field here.
Yeah, I really caught a cramp.
It's the 80th minute.
I need a sub.
He needs a sub.
I need a substitution.
At Nick Days 10, yeah?
At Nick Days 10 and all things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum.
Get the trainer in here. Let's get the trainer in here. Wrap it up. We need the trainer.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be